Alright, so we're back on the subject. Why they want to be us. I'm gonna eat. It's my lunch break. I'm hungry. So, I say the last part, I say they want to erase our history. For the longest time, a lot of people around the world, and mostly blacks, know that black people have created a whole lot of things of United States that people do today. Especially in music. Of course, black people created rap and hip hop, but they also created country, blues, jazz, rock and roll. I know some white people get offended about the rock and roll and country, but it's true though. If you go back in the history of country and rock and roll, you'd be surprised that black people invented all these genres that we listen to today. So some people say, well, what about techno? I believe techno was created by other people like Europeans and other white nationality, but also I think techno and house music really came from the gay kind of scene mostly, because if you think about it, that's what most of us listen to. Not all LGBTQ people, but most of the time people like listen to techno. And funny that techno is a really high popular genre too, just like hip hop. You hear techno and hip hop, you hear techno and country and stuff like that. So the reason why I brought not the music, but the reason why I brought the history of behind the music is because I named three people. I named the business people, the profit people, and the main media people. Those people love making white people black. Now you're probably like, Jasmine, what the heck do you mean that they like to make white people black? Well, there's many white artists that mimic black people. Choice TV, he mentioned this on his videos, that if a white girl acts black, she gets more coverage. But if a black girl acts like herself, she get less coverage. So, in a way, they're trying to push white people to be black people. Like I say, we're in La La Land. We're in Alice in Wonderland right now. I'm just trying to make you understand and break the analogy of these crazy prejudiced white people thinking. So, they try to erase black people's history. But once again, we got the internet. Once again, we got people and YouTube and historical people constantly giving us information about the truth and not lies. And the main media and record labels are trying to erase our history. They've been doing this for decades. They've been doing it with rock and roll, blues, jazz, country, and now they're going to do it on hip hop and rap. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of white people who are very creative and they love the music, the culture, the genre. They love everything about the history of hip hop and rap. But there are most who are just doing it because A, it brings a lot of money, B, you get a lot of attention from all different types of life and platforms, and C, it's more accepted more than ever, because sadly to say, you got 50-50 here. You got some people who don't even care about lyrics, and you got some people who do care about the lyrics. You got some people who wondering if they understand and respect the hip-hop culture, or you got some who don't give two shits about the hip-hop culture and they just there for the money. So it's really cut down to the middle. But we're just sticking to this one topic and we're saying about white people want to be black people. So the business of it. The business understood and understand that white people are more appealing to all different kinds of people in the world. Strangely enough, a lot of people rather see diversity than seeing the same thing over and over and over again. But as a business white person, they rather see numbers, data, and views. If a white person that acts black, you're more likely going to get more attention. But if you're a black person just acting like yourself, you're more likely might get less attention unless you act like they want you to act in a stereotype of way, ghetto, hood, and bougie, and ratchet. If you act like those things, you're more likely to get popular. It's sad. It's like white people have to be, they be black, but they be in a positive light. But if you're black, you got to be in a negative light. It's the weirdest damn thing. I'm just trying to explain to you what I'm calculating in my head. So, in the business perspective, they know some countries don't like black people. Some, not all countries, but some countries just don't like black people. So they'd rather have a white person push up front to be black, to make money. So, that's their allergy. Now, in the profit kind of sense, most people that listen to hip-hop and rap, it's pretty much everybody. It's the whole entire world love hip-hop and rap. But who's mostly like go hard for hip-hop and rap? White kids. Young white adults. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's just make that clear. But what I'm just trying to explain you of a corporation eye point of view, they see white kids love this stuff, so they're gonna push as much as they can. However, like I say, if you're white and you're rapping, you do the typical black people, but do it in a positive light. But if you're black, you do it in a negative light. Most people say it depends on their personality. Correct. But like I said, you're dealing with prejudiced white men who are controlling the record labels, how to image you, how to mold you, and what the people want. Because most people rather have shock factor, drama, and scandal than somebody coming out positive. Now, there are some rappers that are positive, but there are a lot of them that just buck crazy, you know? So when the profit people see this, they want to push at white people as much as they can to be black. And this is a bad thing because for some reason, when white kids see another white rapper act like this, they're thinking black people act like this too. And that's not true. And then make it more worse when you have black rappers that act just like a typical stereotype what a prejudiced white man could claim that we are. That makes things even more worse. Because what's going to happen, some white kid's going to go up to a black kid, and this black kid is talking proper, looks dressed, pants ain't baggy, pants are up, he's looking clean and fresh, he's working 2 jobs, he's got a nice car, and the white kid's going to get confused because he's looking at this black rapper who just looking like a hot mess. And he's looking at this black kid, he's looking like, you don't look like the rapper that I be seeing or the people that been claiming what black people dress like and sound like. And, of course, the black kid gonna roll his damn eyes and keep it going because it's like something wrong with this white kid. Imaging is a very strong, pulsive thing. And the corporation understand that very clearly. So they're trying to push as much white or non-brown people to the hip-hop world. They're trying to push that as much as possible. Why? Because they're trying to erase our history. They're trying to erase our history. They're trying to say, and this is true, because for the longest time I didn't know that rock and roll was invented by a black person. I know his name. I don't want to say his name incorrect, but his last name is Berry. And he was the first African American man that invented rock and roll. But I didn't know that, and I didn't understand it when I was growing up. I love rock and roll. I love classic rock and roll. I love metal, heavy metal rock and roll. I love rock and roll, and I didn't know why until later on in life I found out that, hey, there was a lot of black people who were in the rock and roll genre, but the white producers saw this as a hit when Elvis did it. And we all know Elvis stole a lot of ideas from off the black musicians. And that's why rock and roll is a white genre. Because once again, they erased the history that black people invented rock and roll and say white people invented rock and roll, which we know that's not true. The teach goes on if people argue back and forth. At the end of the day, it's music. You should love music no matter what it came from. But you blame the prejudiced white people to make everything as a race thing. It's not so much as blacks trying to make everything a race thing. It's the prejudiced white people trying to make everything as a race thing, you know? So anyway, that's what I mean. They're trying to erase our history. The clothes that we wear, the hairstyle we wear, just anything that black people invented, they try to reverse it and say it was white people that invented or Asian people invented. They try to flip the scripter to some other culture that invented, but it really came from black people first. So they try to erase our history, and they're doing it right before our eyes. I think for some people it's not surprising, and some others it might be very shocking. Because they say, I can't believe they really are trying to erase black people from hip-hop. Now, most of y'all say, well, hold up, Jasmine. There's a whole bunch of black men. Yes, true. But they're not very wise. Hip-hop and rap is supposed to be full of different types of people, different parts of the world, and different types of gender. It really doesn't have to be a strict male dominancy. Yes, it starts from a male, but hip-hop is all about expression, poetry. It's like a diary of your life. A strong message to the world, what they need to do to get themselves better, or what it might be happening in the world. You use your music as a power tool. But it can also be helpful, but it can also be deadly. And I'm going to come back with my part 2 with this one.